Dear students, today we will talk about the kinetic energy and potential energy of a particle executing simple harmonic motion. So let's do that. We know that simple harmonic motion is characterized by restoring force. So we have defined that restoring force that in case of an example of a pendulum, for example. So when we drag the pendulum to one extreme end, a restoring force comes into play which opposes the motion of the pendulum, and that force is called as restoring force, right? So that force acts against the direction of increasing displacement. So that was given by this, right? Now, if we want to find the potential energy of this pendulum, right? So we have to proceed in this manner that we will need to find the work done, dW, that will be equal to F dx. So because the restoring force and this displacement are acting opposite to each other, the angle between them is 180. So dW can be written as F dx cos of 180. So we know that cos of 180 is minus 1. So once you substitute all those values, what do you get? You get that for F you can write minus kx, and cos 180 is minus 1. So that will be plus kx. So that will be kx dx only. So total work done is how much? Integral kx dx. And once you do the integration, this work done is equal to half of kx square. And this work done is stored in the system as its potential energy. So you can write potential energy UP is equal to half of kx square. But in a more appropriate manner, you can choose to write uh, the value of x. And what is x? How do we define displacement in terms of simple harmonic motion? You have already done that. It is written as a sine omega t. So it is represented by a sine function or a cosine function. You have done that. So x is a sine omega t. So once you substitute that, up is half of kx square. For x, you are now writing a square sine square omega t. We will make one more substitution. If you recall that while deriving the differential equation of motion for simple harmonic motion, we had made a substitution for this omega, that it is equal to k by m, where m is the mass of the particle executing simple harmonic motion, k is the force constant, and omega is the angular frequency. So we substitute that here, we get up is equal to half of, for k obviously we can write m omega square when we square this. So it is m omega square a square sine square omega t. And what will be the maximum value of this kinetic and this potential energy? It will be when sine will acquire its maximum value. And we know that maximum value of sine is 1. So up maximum value is half of m omega square a square. That's it. Now let us go to the kinetic energy part. For kinetic energy, we can write that kinetic energy UK is equal to half of mv square. Simple as that. So UK will be half of m. For v, you can write it is dx by dt square. And what is dx by dt? We know x is a sine omega t. So what is dx by dt? It is a omega cos omega t, right? So once you substitute that here, kinetic energy is equal to half of m. For dx by dt square, you are going to write a square omega square cos square omega t. So this is the value of kinetic energy of a particle executing simple harmonic motion. And for the present case, remember, I am repeating that we have taken the example of a simple pendulum, right? So what is the total energy of the system now? Total energy is obviously U potential plus U kinetic. And that is, if you see that this is half omega square a square sine square omega t, and this is half omega square a square cos square omega t. So this factor will be taken common, and sine square plus cos square is 1. So that is half m a square omega square. By the way, what is the maximum value of kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is going to attain its maximum value when cos will be maximum, and maximum value of cos is 1. So it is half of m a square omega square. It is the same thing as the maximum value of potential energy, right? So we can also write that total energy is actually UP max, or it is UK max. The total energy is actually the maximum value of kinetic energy and the maximum value of potential energy. They are identical, they have same value. And this is true also because conceptually you need to understand it. Whenever the potential energy will acquire its maximum value, it's very logical that at that time kinetic energy will be zero. Similarly, when kinetic energy will attain its maximum value, it's very logical that potential energy at that time would be zero. So we can say that the total energy is the value of maximum potential energy or maximum kinetic energy. But when their ordinary expressions are summed up, obviously they sum up to the total energy of the system, right? So when we plot the graph of kinetic energy and potential energy, suppose this is the mean position of the pendulum, this is the increasing x, that is x is plus a, x is equal to minus a on the left side. Yes, so you get two types of curves. One is this and another is like this. So this is for potential energy and this curve is for kinetic energy. We know kinetic energy is maximum at mean position and it is minimum, that is zero, at extreme position. Consequently, potential energy at this position will be zero, and at the extreme positions it will have a maximum value. See, when we oscillate a pendulum and we take it to some extreme position, right, it moves a certain distance from its mean position to extreme position, and then it comes back, and then it comes back. So we can assign a reason to that. It comes back because its velocity is zero at this point. If its velocity had a certain value, it would have still gone further, but it doesn't. At a certain point, it loses its velocity becomes zero, so it comes back. Therefore, at extreme position, remember, kinetic energy is zero, but potential energy is maximum. See, again, I can draw that figure for you. Suppose this is the central position, the mean position. Now, I have taken the pendulum to some extreme. Yeah, to some extreme. At this extreme, it has also gained certain height with respect to its original position, right? And because of this height, it has certain potential energy. That potential energy can alternatively be expressed as mgh. Mass of the pendulum, g acceleration due to gravity, and h is the height above its mean position. So this is the potential energy. And what's the value of kinetic energy there? It is zero because the velocity turns out to be zero here. And because velocity is zero, kinetic energy is zero, and the pendulum starts to come back to its mean position and then go to the other extreme, right? Similarly, when we throw a ball upwards, yes, why does it come back? Because at certain point, at certain height, its velocity is zero. So it falls back, right? So whenever velocities turn zero, kinetic energy is zero, but potential energy is maximum. At the beginning, when the potential kinetic energy is maximum, potential energy is minimum, right? After this, we need to turn to the time averaged values of potential energy and kinetic energy. And what do we mean by time averaged values? We know that if we find the value of potential energy and kinetic energy over one complete cycle of oscillation, that is, we divide that energy by the time period t, capital T. And you know the time period t is the time taken by the pendulum to complete one full oscillation from mean position to extreme position to another extreme position back to mean position, right? So that is called as time period. And if you find the average values of potential energy and kinetic energy with respect to this time, we say that those are called as time averaged values. Now let's find that. So time averaged value of, for example, let us choose the kinetic energy first. So kinetic energy, time averaged values. So I'll write it with T is equal to, obviously, we are dividing the expression with T, half of, we have already found the value of kinetic energy. That is this much, half of m a square omega square cos square omega t, half of m a square omega square cos square omega t from 0 to t. So what have we done is that we have divided the expression for kinetic energy with the total time t, because we want to find the average value of kinetic energy over one full cycle of oscillation, right? So let's do that. So that is equal to kinetic energy time averaged is equal to 1 by t. So all other constants will come out, actually half of m omega square a square, they will come out, and we'll be left with only this much dt, right? Go back to this expression. So this is what we are doing. So all these constants will come out, and we will be integrating only this expression because it carries the t factor, cos square omega t dt. So let's do that. So it is m omega square a square by 2t integral. I hope all of you remember the formula, trigonometric formula, that cos square of theta 2 times is 1 plus cos of 2 theta. If we express cos in terms of cos, this is the formula, trigonometric formula. So when we use that, what do we get? This is 1 plus cos. For theta, we have omega t here. So it will be 2 omega t, and this 2 will come in the denominator, divided by 2 dt integral 0 to t. So once you do that, that is equal to m omega square a square by 2t. This 2 will also come out into 2. Then it will be integral 1 dt, that is dt from 0 to t, plus integral cos 2 omega t dt from 0 to t. That's it. So the integration of this will be capital T. That capital T will get cancelled with this. So we are left with 1/4 of m omega square a square. And remember, this factor will be 0. I hope you understand that cos, integration of cos is sine, right? So, and sine vanishes. Sine of n pi is 0 for all values of n. Because when the integration of cos turns out to be sine, it will be sine of 2 times, for omega I can write 2 pi by t, capital T, and then this capital T, this and this will go. It is sine of some n pi. We know that sine of n pi vanishes for all values of n. So this integral will be 0. So all we are left with is that time averaged value of kinetic energy is this much. Time averaged value. Similarly, we can proceed to find the time averaged value of potential energy, and that is UP time averaged. Again, that will be written in the same way, integral 0 to t half of m omega square a square, and that is how much? This much. Let's go back to the first page, and that is this much, sine square omega t, right? So let's go back to that. Sine square omega t. Again, by the same logic, 1 by the constants will come out. This will be integral 0 to, yes, dt, of course dt, integration with respect to t. Here you have used the formula that twice cos square theta is 1 plus cos 2 theta. In this case, you can use this formula. You can use the formula that sine square of theta 2 times is equal to 1 minus cos of 2 theta, right? So here it is 1 plus, here it is 1 minus. This is the trigonometric formula that we will use to solve this integral, and that is time averaged value of potential energy will be 1 by 4t m omega square a square. This will be integral dt. We are doing it in the same way as in the previous case, cos of 2 omega t dt 0 to t. And by the same logic, this integral will be 0. This will be t, that will get cancelled with this capital T. So you are left with 1/4 of m omega square a square. So this is the time averaged value of potential energy. And if we go back to the original expression, we'll find that time averaged value of potential energy is the same thing as time averaged value of kinetic energy, and this is half of total energy. Because what is the total energy? See, the total energy is this much, half of m omega square a square. And in that expression, we are getting 1/4 of m omega square a square. So the time averaged value is half of the total energy. So we have obtained that time averaged value of potential energy is equal to the time averaged value of kinetic energy, and that is equal to half of the total energy, right? So you can take many more examples from books and solve numerical problems pertaining to simple harmonic motion and their time averaged values of potential energy and kinetic energy. I hope that gives you a superficial introductory preliminary idea of this topic.